Jeff, I did not need your intro. Tyler had me covered there. Okay, here we go. Tyler, I think yesterday was your first day on the field, at least that we saw you working with the offense. What has your experience been jumping in with some guys that have had experience for the last week and getting to learn Shane's offense?
I think it's been pretty good. Obviously, we're learning a new offense. It's a lot of twists, a lot of turns when it comes to learning a new offense. But the more and more that you really dive into it, the more you really try to study it on the outside, not only at practice, it starts to become very comprehensible. Obviously, it's something that you have to be able to go over multiple times. It's not just something to where, oh, I know the offense, I've been here for a year, I'm good. It's something that you truly have to be able to study over and over and over just so you're ready to go. Corbin, you're next.
Thanks, Tyler. Hey, you just mentioned the twists in terms of the offense. DK mentioned that the routes are significantly different in this scheme than what they've been in the past. What has really stood out to you so far from afar and now being on the field? And has anything surprised you about Coach Waldron's offense?
I wouldn't say it surprises me. I mean, when you looked at the Rams offense, you could kind of see how really sophisticated it was. So, I mean, whenever we ended up signing him, I mean, I knew what type of offense it was going to be. I think he's very brilliant. I think the things that he brings to our team is going to really help us out a lot. And when it comes to just learning his offense, like I said, once you study it, you're able to see exactly what type of offense we're going to be. You're able to see everything that we're going to do. And so, like I said, since I've been here, I've been really excited about it. Just kind of picking his brain, understanding that he's also a coordinator that wants to learn. And it's really cool when you have that. I've had that with the others as well. And so when you have people that are willing to learn and willing to continue to get better each and every day with you, you're able to grow with that person. And so since Shane came in, I mean, everybody's been picking it up. Everybody's been doing a great job.
Bob?
Yeah, Tyler, just in your role as the player rep, how did you see the process of you guys, a lot of the veterans not being here for, some are all of OTAs, but then everybody showing up for minicamp and all of that? How did you feel like that process, I guess, kind of unfolded and was conducted?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is, when you get chosen to be a player rep, you think you got to make all these ultimate big decisions and all that type of stuff. And truth be told, you really don't. All you really got to do is just ask the team what is that they want to do. And when you look at the votes and stuff like that, you're just the person that has to be able to relay the messages. So, I mean, we did a great job being able to talk to the coaches. We did a great job, being able to relay information, going back and forth, all that different type of stuff. And so, I mean, you seen some guys come back, and that's cool. Guys had to do what they had to do. But at the end of the day, I would say that the communication was great amongst the team. The communication was great amongst everybody in the front office. And even since we've been here, I think everybody's done a very extraordinary job in being able to show that we understand that this is our job. And that we're going to make sure that we're ready, whether we're here, whether we're not here. We understand what's at stake. This is our livelihood. So we have to be able to make sure that we're ready and able to go when it's time to go.
Michael Sean?
Hey, Tyler, in terms of informing guys about the vaccine, what does that look like?
What do you mean?
I think Pete has mentioned you guys have got information. Where are guys getting information on the vaccine from? Where are players getting that from?
I mean, I think everybody's different. Some people might get it from their significant other. Some people might get it from their family. Some people might get it from the internet. Some people might get it from the doctors. It's different information that's out there, so I can't really tell you where everybody's getting their information from. All I can really tell you is, for me, I got the vaccine, and that's because I wanted to be able to see my family. So, that's why I ended up getting it. But I'm not about to force people to get it or anything like that. I think at the end of the day, it's their decision. But for me, I made the best decision that was right for me and my family. And so I ended up getting it. But all I can do is just tell them what I know and tell them why I decided to get it. But I can't force somebody what they want to do with their life.
Thanks, Tyler.
John Boyle?
Yeah, Tyler, I talked to you about the project you're doing with the bookmarks a couple weeks ago. Just how's that going? How's the feedback been from people with that?
It's actually been going really well. One of the things that I started doing is reaching out to a lot of the businesses that I'm endorsed with and even trying to reach out to some of the Seattle brands to kind of see what they want to be able to do with it, and if there's something that we can do to be able to shed light on everything. I don't know if a lot of y'all know, but we ended up coming out with these bookmarks. I signed with my uncle. He's a marketing client. He's a marketing person now. And we came out with these bookmarks with the Fulton Street Bookstore, the first only bookstore, black bookstore in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so as we give out these bookmarks, the 50% is going to the Fulton Street Bookstore, and the other 50% is going to the black businesses that we choose. And so I think it's something for me that I'm really excited about, because I'm not worried about me getting a piece of anything. All I'm doing is just being able to promote it because I want to be able to support black businesses. And I think it's pretty cool just to be able to have bookmarks. So many different ways to use it. You can give them to people so they can read. I used to be with Pizza Hut, and they talked about the Book It program. You can put it in libraries. You can, give it to hospitals, and they can give it to patients. There's different things that you could be able to do with bookmarks. And so that's what I'm excited for, and we'll see how it continues to go.
And then different topic, the state and the county are both continue to, loosen restrictions, open up. Presuming that means fans in the stadium in some capacity for you guys to follow. Just what will that mean for you guys to have fans back in the building?
Oh, man, I'm excited to have them. Sometimes you never know what it's like to not have something until you don't have it. And when we didn't have the fans, you could tell it was different. But the biggest thing, that even though you have to find something good about being able to still go out there and play when you have no fans, it really taught me that if there's nobody in the audience, how are you still going to perform? Like, are you only a performer when there's people in the stands? And for me, I had to dig deep, and I had to ask myself, what is my why? If my motivation and inspiration gets bigger because I have people in the stands, then there's a problem. And so for me, it taught me how not to take fans for granted, but how to be able to enjoy and be appreciative that people are actually there. And so I'm excited for the fans to come back. Like, I'm really excited just to be able to go out there. I always call it a concert because that's what it feels like ever since I first stepped on that football field. And so when the fans come back, it's time to get it going.
Joe?
Tyler, after you got your extension, we chatted with you a bit, and you mentioned that when Shane gets here, you guys start having meetings, that everyone kind of needs to take the sit down, shut up, listen up, and hear what this guy's got to say, players, coaches alike. Do you feel like that's been the case as opposed to, hey, Shane, this is kind of how we do things here? And, what has been, the way he's been embraced in terms of what he wants to do and accomplish offensively?
I think he's been embraced well. I think we've given him the freedom to kind of be who he has always been. And we've been very, I would say, we've allowed ourselves to learn, to be able to kind of sit down and say, you teach us. What is it that we're missing? What is it that we need to know? How can we get better? And being able to give him that free range to really be able to bring what he wants to bring in order to make us great. Instead of us acting like we got it together, instead of us acting like, we've been here before, we've always been to the playoffs this many times, instead of acting like you need to follow our lead, I think we've done a really great job in being humble and learning how to follow his lead.
Curtis?
Yeah, Tyler, as somebody who likes to draw up his own plays and conceptualize offense and stuff, what do you like about this? Like, when you look at it, what stands out to you? What aspects do you kind of jive with and like, and what kind of leaves an impression on you when you kind of think of his offense and what you guys are going to be able to do here?
When I think of his offense, I think we have more freedom to do a lot of stuff. It's very different than the 6 years that I've been here. But the biggest thing that I've learned since being here in the league is it doesn't matter what team you go to, it doesn't matter who your offensive coordinator is. The biggest thing that you need as a player that I've learned is you have to be able to adapt. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned is some receiver coaches, they didn't like how I ran routes. Other coaches did like how I ran routes. But when I had to go with people who may have trained me when I was getting ready to come to the league, if they didn't like my routes, I had to run how they wanted me to be able to run. And even though it was uncomfortable, I had to be able to do what needed to be done if I was going to be on that team. And so when you're talking about whatever team you go to, everybody has certain ways they want you to run routes. You have spread offenses, you have West Coast offenses, you have run and gun, you have so many different types of offenses that require you as a receiver to be different, to think different, to play different releases, different techniques, all that different type of stuff. And so with the offense that Shane brings in, I think it brings us more freedom. more freedom to kind of be able to be the receivers that we can be. We got free range to do a lot of stuff. Not saying that we could just go out there and do whatever we want, but the more and more sophisticated that you become in this offense, the more you're able to understand how you can switch your feet, how not to switch your feet, how to add an extra step, how not to add an extra step, rather than always just having to get to a certain point at this certain amount of time. You kind of have free range to play with it a little bit.
Greg?
Hi, Tyler. With the vaccine, the union and the league has pretty much created two distinct worlds. The vaccinated players can travel, can live as he wants to, get in the locker room, weight room, unlimited, eat in the dining facility, and the non-vaccinated player, 2020, basically. What are you telling teammates about that? What's the union telling teammates about that, and how it can be a competitive issue if some players are in basically locked down like it's last year again?
I mean, I don't make the rules. You know, all you got to do is you got to figure out which rules you want to follow. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, if you choose not to get vaccinated and you got to go throughout those rules of last year, I don't know how that's going to be. You know, I'm not the one that sets the rules and stuff like that, but all I know is, you know, a lot of people aren't going to want their money to be messed with. And so if they choose not to get vaccinated and somehow they get it, somebody gets it, then, you know, if the NFL is still doing that same thing on, oh, were you out, were you not out, I don't know how that stuff goes, but all I know is I got vaccinated, so I have freedom, but I also am not going to live like I have freedom. I'm still going to quarantine myself and all those different types of things. I'm still most likely going to wear a mask and all that different type of stuff, because just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean that you can't get it again. You know, I've had a conversation with my mom where somebody did end up getting it, and they were one of the first people that got the vaccine. I was a doctor, so I know you can still get it. You might not go to the hospital and have severe symptoms like people, but for me, I don't even want to test it. You know, so I'm still going to live safe and do what needs to be done to be able to protect me and my family and everybody else that I'm around.
Art?
Tyler, could you describe a little bit about what the up-tempo part of Shane Waldron's offense looks like for you, and is it different from what you've experienced?
I would just say the up-tempo is just more so of a faster huddle. You know, it's just the same way that we go in the huddle and we know that we have 35 seconds in the play clock and we listen and hear the plays. It's no different when we're going full speed. We're still understanding the plays. It's still full plays. It's just we're not in the huddle. We're just hearing them say it out loud, hurrying up and lining up. I don't think it's going to be as different, but like I said, there's a lot of plays that we have to do tempo. So you just got to be able to listen clearly, because you can easily get caught up in hearing the wrong thing. And so when it comes to us as an offense, if there's anything that I think we need to know, is we have to be able to communicate. And sometimes it's hard to communicate as an offense just because naturally the defense is the ones who communicate the most. They always have to talk and stuff like that. On offense, it's kind of like you get used to just being like, I know what I'm doing, I'm good. But if there's anything that I'm learning when it comes to this offense is the more and more that you communicate and the more and more that you talk, the more and more that you guys are going to be on the same page and successful.
Brady?
Hi, Tyler. Excuse me. We've heard that the short to intermediate passing game is going to be different for you guys than it's been in years past. How would you describe how that's, for an average viewer who doesn't, is not an X's and O's expert? How would you describe how that might look different?
I mean, I would just say, it might look different because, a lot of teams haven't really seen us go short. A lot of teams were trying to force us to go short, and we did it, and we wanted explosives and stuff like that. But, I mean, truth be told, the explosive part of it's not going to change. It's just the fact that we're going to learn how to be a lot more balanced to where whatever teams decide to give us, that's what we're going to take. Teams decide to play us deep, then we're going to take everything short, and we're going to be able to run our offense all the way down the field and control the clock. If teams try to take the short stuff away, we're going to go deep. So at the end of the day, I think we're just learning how to be able to build our offense up as a whole to where we don't have to depend on one thing, but we can be able to depend on different types of phases of our offense. So whatever people give us, we're just going to take. And we're not going to be greedy. We're not going to go out there and force things to happen. We're just going to naturally let the game come to us.
And one quick follow-up. Now that you're vaccinated, things are starting to open back up. Do you have any plans to perform any poetry at all in the coming months?
I don't know. I think for me, I'm learning how to put my poetry stuff right now in videos on Instagram and stuff. So that's kind of been something that's been cool, and I've been kind of putting it behind highlights and different stuff like that. So shout out to everybody on the third floor, Brian Pan and other people that work up there. So they've been doing a great job in helping me with that. But once everything kind of gets, to a place where I feel, good, yeah, I don't mind going back out there performing, different stuff like that. But right now I'm really getting into more of the video production stuff, whether it's my highlights or whether it's actually going out there doing real poetry, spoken word videos. It's different type of stuff that I would like to try.
Cool. Thank you.
And last one, Tim Booth.
Hey, Tyler, what do you think Dwayne Eskridge can bring to this offense that's different or unique from what you and DK might provide? And how important is developing that third receiver option, whether it's him or Freddie or Gerald Everett or Will Dissly or whoever it might be?
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest things that Eskridge could provide is just we've all seen what it's like for him to be able to have the ball in his hands, how, he's fluid and being able to run, make people miss, just run after the catch. And when it comes to this type of offense, when we watched, Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp and even Gerald, everybody, when they were there, we were able to see that they were really good at running with the ball after the catch. And so for us, it's something that we're focusing on. It's something that, I want to be able to be better at. And with being able to be in this offense, yeah, we have schemes that can get us open just off the plays that are being called, but also being able to take your game to another level, making people miss, being able to get the first down, getting 15, 20, 50 yards after the catch. That's something that's going to be big, and I think that's something that Eskridge could definitely help us with, and we could definitely learn that from him. When it comes to just being able to understand the offense and stuff, I think that's something that we can all be able to teach him. And once he kind of figures out his safety net, his comfort zone, then he could be able to actually go out there and be the person that we drafted him to be, that we always knew that he could be. Doesn't have to do anything different. When it comes to other guys, Kobe, Gerald, whoever it is, I think the biggest thing is Shane does a great job in being able to understand our strengths and being able to put us in situations where we're able to utilize those strengths to our biggest capacity. And as long as we're able to continue to do that, I think it puts everybody in a position where they feel like they don't have to go out there and be somebody that they're not. They understand their routes, they understand their body type, they understand their speed, what we need to do, what's going to get us open as an offense. And it's not like, oh, you just got to focus on this person as a defense or they got to focus on him. He does a great job in being able to get everybody involved. And when you can share the ball and teams can't really game plan who to stop, I mean, that's when the sky's the limit.
Tyler, thank you.
All right, see y'all later.